Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and welcome to a very long overdue soap tutorial. Today we are baking these beautiful poppy seed swirl cold processed bars of soap. So a while back I got to thinking about creating swirls but with texture instead of with color. And that's kind of where these bars came from. I've made sort of citrus poppy seed bars before. Actually, one of my very first bars was a sort of shea butter poppy seed lemon soap. I recently found it when I was moving and it was covered in orange spots and kind of didn't quite make the jump to the new place. But it was a fun reminder of something I'd done before that I really enjoyed. And so as I was thinking about sort of textured swirls and poppy seeds, I was like, hey, how about poppy seed swirls? The batter for this soap is a pretty slow tracing batter that doesn't move too quickly, and that gives us time to create the swirl and have sort of a liquid pour. And so that liquid pour is what is creating the swirl here. Because we need the swirl to be quite compact, if we have the swirl be too diffuse, then the poppy seeds just kind of look like there's just poppy seeds everywhere and we don't really get any noticeable shape. So we needed to have a pretty concentrated pour of the poppy seed saturated portion of the batter. So really what we're doing, we're bringing our batter to trace, we are adding in our sort of trace ingredients, so our essential oils, and we're splitting it out, taking a portion of it and then adding a bunch of poppy seeds to that. And you want there to be enough poppy seeds in there that it's visually striking and gives a contrast to the poppy seed free portion of the batter. And we'll pour some of the non-poppy seed batter in there, then we'll pour in the poppy seed batter along one side, top it off with more no poppy seed batter, and then we sort of decorate the top, hope for the best, and come back and cut it a few days later. As with pretty much any soap with swirls, every slice of this bar is different, but this one you can really see a bit of like a nebula type swooshy poppy seed swirl, which I really like. This sort of darkening has happened over the last week or so as these bars have been aging, and it gives a really neat sort of nebula kind of cloud effect, which I think is very cool. Just a reminder that all the information you'll need for things like what's the fat blend and how much superfat are we dealing with here and what essential oils are we using, that's all in the description box below. Click through to the blog. Everything is written out there. There's lots more information there to make sure that you've got everything that you need to make this soap. So come on, let's get started. All right, so to begin, we have our fats, which I have melted and cooled to just a little tiny bit warm. They're pretty much room temperature, slightly above, and our lye solution, which again, I've mixed up and let cool. So these are the same temperature. If you want to know what goes in these, please go down to the description box below. I have everything written out there sort of briefly, and then if you want all the details, go to the blog. So we are going to begin by bringing our batter to trace. So we're going to combine our lye water and our fats. And we're going to bring this to trace. So we'll be using our handy dandy immersion blender, and I tend to like to keep this lye jug fairly close at hand as a place to put spatulas and the immersion blender when it's not being used. So we want this to be a reasonably flowy trace. All right, so that's a pretty light trace. I'm going to add our essential oils now. I'd like it to be a bit thicker, but it will get thicker as we, blend in the essential oils and then keep blending. So this is a blend of 5-fold orange essential oil and litsea cubeba. And I've included the litsea cubeba because it helps anchor the orange essential oil, which really is not terribly inclined to stick around in soap as it ages. So now I'm going to weigh out 1/4 of this batter into another container by weight. And this is going to be our poppy seed part. So I have some poppy seeds here. This is just going to be kind of adding and stirring until I've got kind of the look that I want. I want this part to be pretty densely poppy seeded. because I want it to provide a really, really strong visual contrast. So just doing that until I kind of get the look that I want. I don't want the whole soap to be super poppy seedy because that's very scrubby, but yeah, I just kind of want this one sort of swirly vein to be all speckled. All right, well, I'm liking the way that looks. When I look at it from the side as well, I can see quite densely poppy seedy, and if I leave it, they don't just immediately sink to the bottom. So that is good. So now we can grab our mold. I'm gonna pour about half of the non-poppy seedy version, and then pour the poppy seeds. And I do want some of the swirling to just come from the weight of the pour, but not too much. So I'm gonna pour it over the spatula here so that it's not too crazy. And then we have the remainder of this batter here, which again, we don't want this to be super, super swirly. So I'm going to try and break the fall a bit. I don't think the angle was particularly great for that pour, but what I was doing was pouring it onto the spatula, just kind of down the side of just this one side of the mold, going back and forth and back and forth. I'm just gonna get the last of this to do that as well. I think that could use a bit of tidying with some paper towel. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this for about 20 minutes so that the top can gain some viscosity, because I wanna scoop it and decorate it a bit. All right, so this has been sitting for about 20 minutes and it's should be ready to sculpt. Moment of truth here is when we start. Okay, good stuff. Always a little nerve-wracking. You get there for the first time. So I'm using this spatula to, just kind of drag up a little bit here on this side, kind of going to like the 75-80% mark. Not digging in very deeply, as you can probably see. I think the back of a spoon would also work quite nicely for this kind of technique. Then I'm just going to turn this around and kind of come at the other side here. Just kind of flick it up a bit. Okay, now I want to put some more poppy seeds on here. Got some extras here and just kind of sprinkle that along our little foldy soapy mountain peak here. All right, so now we just need to let this saponify. I'm probably going to leave this for at least 2, if not 3 full days to let it really harden up, because it is quite a soft soap batter with quite a lot of liquid oil. And I want this to be reasonably firm when I cut it, because I'm probably gonna have to flip it around to not drag poppy seeds through it from the top. So I just want to make sure that if I'm turning it to the side, I'm not like denting it with my thumbs or anything. So yeah, I will see you in a couple days. All right, it's been 3 days since I poured this, so let's disassemble the mold and cut it and see how it turned out. So you can see a bit of a crack formed here, and I think that's just because it's been so hot these last few days here in Calgary. I did not insulate it beyond sort of just the mold, and I didn't cover it, and I set it out in an open space. So I was surprised to see that we got a little bit of cracking there. But yeah, let's get a look at the inside here. And there you go. You just made a gorgeous citrus poppy seed swirl soap. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and do remember to go down to the description box below this video and click through to the accompanying blog post to learn more get links to all the ingredients and see all the instructions written out. And if you're wondering about, where you get that information about, how much lye to use and what the superfat percentage is and which oils we're using at what percents, that's all in the description box below and on the blog. So please go look at that. You'll want to let this soap age for at least a month before using it because it's pretty darn soft. But yeah, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.